Deputy Chair. First of all, may I take this opportunity to not just congratulate, but commend the member for Easington for bringing this very, very important debate. I feel that I must reiterate, I've heard many voices across the chamber, but we must recognise the injustice these women have been dealt. It's not a case of simply saying, oh, we hear the issues that have been raised of us by constituents. We need to listen. I know the member for Bury St Edmunds talked about proportionality and cost, and there are actions such as early drawdown that the government could take now. This action, which would be cost neutral, could have a beneficial impact. I don't understand what prevents government from introducing a cost neutral measure of an early drawdown to women who wish to pursue this option. This is an issue. To do nothing is not only inadequate, it's unfair and unjust. In my constituency of Peterborough, I have been contacted by a number of constituents, and that's on the issue of looking at proportionality. We can't simply say that because in our constituency there may be one or two women that have come to our attention and we feel that we need to look at individuals. This is a massive issue for a number of women, which the WASPI Women Plight covers and brings to our attention. We must do something. It's not enough just to say that we hear. We need to listen and take action. And I believe that whilst I understand that the pension age has to go up, the rate of the increase has been very rapid, with very little warning or time to prepare for it. Many members would have heard the phrase that says to forewarn is to forearm. Where was the forewarning for some of these women? We can't sit back and say, oh, we're very sorry that you didn't get a letter, or even compare young people much like myself saying, oh, but in years to come, we will have to deal with differences in the pension being paid to us or state pensions that we could be eligible for. This is a very, very specific plight of the 1950s women who have been dealt a very unjust blow. And for us to sit back and say, oh, you know, there were letters and everyone has to suffer at some point, someone will come across this, younger people will have this affect them, is simply not acceptable.
Just a quick point, thank you for giving way. Is it not particularly galling because actually a disproportionate number of 1950s born women don't have access to occupational pension schemes, so they were uniquely exposed and reliant on the state pension? It's all the more galling for them as a result of that.
I absolutely agree with my honourable friend. That is absolutely correct. We also, with regards to the state pension, need to understand this is not a welfare benefit. We're not saying that actually some of you have paid in and sorry about this, that we just can't do what we'd promised you. If you're going along, you're paying in, you've worked since you were 15, paying into a system that you believed would pay you back in your time of need, that you could rely on that, and then it's taken away and you don't have a pension in your workplace or you didn't get put into that type of pension, it absolutely has dire consequences and very negative impacts on their lives. In my constituency, I was contacted by a number of women, one of which was Wendy Hopkins, and she advised me she'd been working since 15 and had paid all of her national insurance contributions, thinking she could retire at 60. 2 years before retirement age, she was told this had been increased to 63, and then within 18 months of this age, now has to wait until she turns 66. As members can imagine, this did not afford sufficient time in which she could make arrangements to make up her financial loss. So in that case, she had to rely on her husband, who has now had to work. He's 67 and is taking up a part-time job to cover the financial loss that they've suffered. There's also, it's very important and prudent, to acknowledge that there are some women who did receive the letter about the 2011 Pension Act and advised them that their pensionable age would be increased by another 15 months. But due to personal circumstances, which seems to be overlooked by some contributions in this House, not everyone is in a position to say, actually, I'll take up an apprenticeship or I'll work, or they may have caring needs for their partners or even children. It's not a fact that they should have to turn around and say, actually, yes, I will continue to work. This is something that they were promised, and we need to really respect that. I feel, I'll draw my comments to a conclusion now, that we need to take action and we need to act now. There are cost neutral things that we could do and we need to do it. Thank you very much.